John Carpenter's The Thing takes place in Antarctica at a US research base in the winter of 1982, with a Norwegian helicopter trying to kill a dog that is running from their base. Due to some clumsiness and hysterics, the pursuers end up getting themselves killed, and the American base gives the dog shelter and decides to investigate what exactly is going on. Well, it turns out the Norwegian facility has suffered some catastrophe, with everyone somehow being killed on sight. They also find a strange corpse that looks somewhat similar to a human. It would seem that whatever it is that killed those other researchers is some kind of alien threat. Something that can take over other life forms, that can blend into it perfectly, that can spread to other hosts like a virus. With no communication with the outside, tensions start to rise as any one of them could be an imposter. And with no escape, they all become consumed by paranoia and, an alien. There's a few major things to gush about when talking about The Thing, and I guess I'll start with the tension and the atmosphere. In perfect horror movie fashion, this movie takes place entirely in isolation, a bit like The Shining. There's the whole concept of cabin fever, being locked up tight with a bunch of people and snapping. Of course, these characters get a little bit of a push, but for the story it's trying to tell, this is a perfect setup. Kurt Russell is fun as always, and I really like his character, but every single character in this movie is just great. With everyone getting snappy and uneasy and unhinged to some extent, you really don't know who to trust, and more importantly, you sympathize and understand everyone's motivation behind their actions. I feel like everyone in this movie acts fairly realistically to the situation, and that does not mean that they're acting rationally. Fear is almost as big of a threat as the alien itself, and I think from a storytelling standpoint, it all works really well. This movie takes its time, it's very dark and very somber. The movie is visually appealing, it's usually plenty entertaining, and the musical score is awesome. All of this just to say, The Thing works as a great mystery thriller, but that's only half the movie. The Thing is a gruesome horror movie with amazing practical effects and a ton of nail-biting action. The Thing is a whodunit gone wild. Not in the naked way, in the bodies getting torn into pieces kind of way. It's beautiful. The movie uses every opportunity to wow you. It doesn't just want to be scary or entertaining, it wants to disgust you and bewilder you at the same time. It wants to amaze and it wants to get under your skin. It's an exercise in excessive style and creativity, and in pushing the boundaries for how ridiculous and fun the gory effects can be. Your eyes are glued to the screen when you see the alien, and even when it's just a normal, boring, talking scene, you're still invested, you're still lasered in, because it's always so stressful. I think for some people that could be a bad thing. It could be excessive to a fault, or maybe you could find it a bit hollow. I don't feel that way myself, but if somebody disliked The Thing, I would hope it's because it was too gross and not because it couldn't hold their attention. There are a couple small things you could say I dislike about this movie. I think the scene with Blair doing lab work on the alien is a bit silly, with the computer calculating exactly the probability and time span for human extinction if the alien were to get out. It's just also absurd. But the audience has to understand why it's a bad thing if the parasite got out there. Also, Kurt Russell pouring his beverage into the chess wizard just pisses me right off. You're basically stuck on a desert island and you have access to unlimited entertainment and I know, I understand the moment, I see the parallels, but it's still upsetting. I also don't like it when all the dogs are dying. That scene is just as upsetting. Or, it's more upsetting. So we talked about the beginning, the atmosphere, the characters, the tension, the music, and that is a great slow build-up. And then we have the middle with the paranoia and the action and the special effects and the craziness. It's all great. But what good would all that be if the movie didn't stick the landing? And that's the thing about The Thing. The whole thing is good. Once our remaining survivors figure out that the alien has fated them to freezing to death, they decide they aren't going out without a fight. They're all gonna die, but so is that alien, and they decide to burn the whole damn place to the ground. It's great, a big fiery explosive finale, and we end our movie with our last two survivors, too tired to carry on and just accepting death, but with their eyes peeled and not quite lowering their guard. It's a perfect ending. The thing is both interesting and entertaining. There's plenty to get out of it just as a character study, or also it's just a really fun and gory experience. It strikes this perfect balance. But is it a perfect movie? Sure. Yeah, it's great. I'm smiling the whole time. Except, with the dogs. And the chess scene, too. That was some bullshit.